Someone who is trained, though, on mining emissions and other issues about energy is the former head of Western Mining, Treverson Barker. He had this to say. Have a listen.
The reality is that there's nothing political about energy. People talk about renewables and they talk about greenhouse abatement, but the rest of the world is not using sun and wind to do that. It has baseload hydro, It has nuclear.
Yep.
We don't have either of these things. We have expensive gas.
Justin, we're having a debate, certainly with some coalition MPs, about lifting Australia's prohibition on nuclear. Now, Keith Pitt, electrical engineer, a backbencher who's really pushing this hard, and others, he says he's not advocating a nuclear power industry for Australia. He says we just have got to have the debate. We've got to allow the conversation.
Couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. I think we've got to... If it didn't have the word nuclear in front of it and it was called something else and we didn't have Nagasaki and Hiroshima, I think, or the Cuban Missile Crisis, I think we would already have it. But it is just, it's sort of a dirty word. And look, it's not perfect, but talking about science not being settled, nothing is perfect. I think that we haven't explored it anywhere near enough. I mean, there's some...
Yeah, but I mean look at those two examples, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan had the bomb dropped on them, the nuclear bomb dropped on them. They have nuclear power.
Yeah.
France has nuclear, Germany has nuclear, Britain has nuclear power.
Yeah.
When Europe crows about its performance in global emissions standards, it doesn't tell people that most of the heavy lifting is done by nuclear.
You know, this week in the State Parliament, Mark Latham's putting a motion, I think, on Thursday to see if we could just have a conversation about it. And he makes the point that it's not only emission-free, which it is, but it's obviously going to give us baseload power. It's supported by the Greens in Finland. So you've got to ask yourself the question, what is this actually about? Yeah. Because it would seem that with, I think, the most or the second most in terms of reserves in the world.
Largest known.
Largest known. And they have to be processed before they can be used to produce power, certainly. But wouldn't you, in a common sense, hang on, we want to get emissions down and we need baseload power. I know, we've got this thing right here.
This country was shot in the proverbial with natural energy. We've got coal, we've got gas, we've obviously got nuclear, Justin. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. But and the coal and gas will run out eventually. I mean, we do need to look for other things. But it is amazing we have people around the world that talk about emissions and want nuclears. I mean, if they say that, Australia won't make any difference with emissions. So why does it matter if we have nuclear or not? Emissions are an enormous problem. And the reason that I like exploring the idea of nuclear is because we can keep those emissions down.
I think if we can have grown-up conversations about the sexual abuse, historical sexual abuse of children in organisational institutions, if we can have those sorts of grown-up conversations as a country, surely to God we can talk about nuclear energy.